Hello there, it's me and D. Me, when I say me, you may not know, so it's D. D, which is me. I'm having a good day. It is supposed to be 63 degrees here today in Colorado on the Front Range. I just had to come outside, and so my dog Murphy's out in the yard right now chewing on a bone that he loves, and you can hear some screaming probably in the background. That's because there's a school nearby. I wanted to backtrack a little bit to the road trip and our attraction to negativity and trying to switch that to maybe having a little more attraction to positivity. I am definitely not an always be positive kind of guy. I don't think that's possible. But I do think leaning on the positivity, having a little positivity bent in the way we look at the world can be a very productive thing. And I try to do that. I don't always succeed, but I try to do that. My buddy JB and I were, part of this trip was hiking, and we did some great hiking in southern Tennessee and northern Georgia. And we went hiking. This was our second hike of the day. And we saw some falls, we saw some beautiful vistas, and we were hiking for a while. But there was something that happened that I wanted to talk about a little bit because I thought it was interesting. And it was about our perspectives on how we view the world and how it can affect our mood so significantly. On this Stone Door Trail, one of the big events of it was to see this stone door. And I was guessing, I don't know what it is. He told me we were doing the Stone Door Trail. That's one of the things is he planned all the hikes. I planned the theme park since that's something I'm more used to. And he planned the hikes. That way we divided up the trip. So I didn't even know anything about this hike. I just went along for the ride. And that was something that I really enjoyed because just letting somebody else control, especially for somebody with anxiety like myself, it's not always easy to do, but it's a great thing to do and often is very rewarding, as it was on this trip. But we started off on this hike and it was beautiful, saw some falls on one end with a cliff, and then went up and hiked a little bit further. And we came across this platform that jutted out over a cliff, or near a cliff, and it was a vista, it was a view, and we were just enjoying the view. It was only a little bit into the hike, but we're just enjoying the view of this huge kind of canyon area, and it was just beautiful. And taking some pictures and noticing the rock outcroppings along the side of the mountains, and just the terrain was gorgeous to see. And so we stopped there for a little bit and enjoyed the view. But then we kept moving on because JB really wanted to see this stone door. And so we hiked on for a while and finally came to a sign which said Stone Door this way. And we came up to another rock outcropping with a little bridge going over to this rock pedestal that you could stand on. And I have fear of heights, so I only did certain things. There's certain things I wasn't going to get too close to the edge on. And there's also these stair steps in between these two massive rock outcroppings. That was so cool. I just thought it was awesome. And you could hike all the way down, and it was probably 50 steps, 100 steps, I'm not sure, all the way down between these rock outcroppings. And it was so unique, and I just loved that, and got all the way down there and came out at the bottom. But all this time, JB's still trying to figure out where the stone door is because, this was supposed to be the Stone Door Trail. We wanted to see the stone door. And it was just one of those things that was he was looking for. I had to stop recording for a second there. My neighbor came back in his truck, and so Murphy started barking, so I'm back now. But he kept wanting to see the stone door. He couldn't wait to see it. And I think he was the one planning everything, so it was so important for him that everything went smoothly, and I got to see this, and I got to experience it, and he wanted to show it to me, and he wanted to see it, and he's planning these great waterfalls and vistas and everything on this trip, and I'm now walking out in my yard just trying to get away from the truck noise and stuff a little bit, but it was, I was having a ball. I was having a ball, but he was getting a little irritated because where the hell's the stone door? And saw one sign, so we finally saw a sign that said stone door, but we were at the back of this rock outcropping. So I was guessing, hey, this is the back of the stone door. It's like you probably see it from, I'm sure you have to be out front somewhere in the canyon to see it, but we're at the back of it. And he said, no, there's a vista where you can see it. And it's like, I'm okay. okay, if you say so. And so let's go a little further. So we kept going. So we kept hiking further down, trying to find it. Kept trying to find a view of it, and we couldn't find it. And we started talking about our two separate reactions. My reaction was, I'm having a ball. In fact, these stair steps between these rock outcroppings is so cool. I had no expectations. And thus, every little bit of this hike was new and wonderful and fun, and I really enjoyed it. But it was so funny because JB's attitude was he couldn't enjoy what we were seeing. He really wasn't enjoying it because he was so focused on finding the stone door, to having that vista, that view of the stone door and seeing that. And we kept looking for it. So finally we stopped looking and we just started to head back. And one of the reasons I talk about this is not at all to put down JB at all, because this is me so often. I do this so often. I get so focused on something out there. I get so focused on expectation, on what this should be, especially when I travel or when even the beginning of the day was supposed to go this way and then it goes left. And well, that isn't the way it's supposed to go, although left could be just as good, if not better, than if I'd gone right, but I wanted to go left. And it's like, and that just sticks in your head. And I've done that so many times in my life, and I'm so guilty of this. So the reason I'm bringing it up is that this is something I did and still do all the time. But it was interesting for me to see it from the other side, from watching somebody go through what I go through so frequently and watching his reaction. And I'm just walking along with a smile on my face, and he's like pulling out the map again and this printouts that he had about the trails and everything, trying to figure out where we went wrong. So finally we keep hiking back, and we get back to that vista where, we were looking out over the whole canyon. And I got up there and I kind of was looking out, and I was thinking, we were down here if that was the stone door. So I walked over to the left, far left part of this platform that we could look out and see the view. And I looked right. And I finally realized, and I said, JB? And he said, what? He goes, is that the stone door? And there, this rock outcropping, the same rock outcropping we saw when we first started the hike, from this platform, there's the stone door. Beautiful view of it, everything. It was cool to see. And we saw it before. It wasn't like we even missed it. We saw it, but didn't know what it was. And he had so caught in his head that the stone door was something that was going to come later, and I wanted to hike to it. And so it couldn't have happened yet. And there was even a sign that pointed there and said stone door. And it's like, all the signs were there, but we so get caught in our heads sometimes that this is the way this was supposed to be. It was supposed to be this way. Any other way is wrong. It was supposed to be this way, and we can't let go. In my view, the view of the stone door was kind of cool. But I loved those stair steps going between the rock outcroppings that we hiked down to. That was awesome, and I enjoyed the hell out of that. And he was so focused on the stone door that he didn't enjoy that. And he knew that. He knew that's what he was doing. And I've known that when I've done it before. But it's so hard to let go of those expectations. Expectations dictate our perspectives. If we have expectations of what's supposed to happen on a certain day at a certain time, or what we've been looking forward to, especially when we planned something out and this was the way it was supposed to be. And if we cling to those expectations, we can ruin our day or even our trip. How do we let go of those expectations and allow the change to come in and go with the flow? I've done this sometimes, and it's amazing when we do that, but it's not my go-to instinct. His enjoyment of that hike was suppressed because it wasn't what he planned. It wasn't what he thought would happen. And how often do we all do that in our days? In our days that go by, in our weeks that go by, in our life that goes by? How often do we let an expectation of what we think something should be ruin our enjoyment of what is? I think with anxiety, we deal with that a lot. Our fears, our worries get in the way of us enjoying things all the time. Oh, and along comes somebody else. See, expectations. My expectation coming out here was to sit down with my chai. Yes, I have my chai from my grocery store run, if you listen to that episode. Sit out here with a chai. Murphy would be out here in the yard chewing on a bone, and I'd be chatting with you. And then, of course, my neighbor drives home with his truck and slams the door, and somebody else walks by, and Murphy starts barking, and some other people come along with their dog and go by, and it's like, this is the life in my backyard. And I love it, and it's cool. But it's not what I expected. So this is a very minor example, but I need to let go of me just sitting in my chair on the patio, sipping my chai and talking to you. And instead, right now, I am pacing the backyard so I'm close to Murphy, so I can try to correct him when I see somebody coming by, so we can keep teaching him not to bark at people. And also so I can keep talking, and I do this. I pace sometimes and talk, and that's what I'm doing right now. But I wanted to share that story because I think that is a kernel, even a cornerstone of this podcast, and some of the things we do and what I think sometimes are flawed thinking and flawed process thinking. And that is that we have expectations of what something is supposed to be. It doesn't quite turn out that way, and we can't let go of that expectation and enjoy what actually happened or what is. I think this happens a lot to us, and I think it's something, the best way for us to, and this is the real question, is how do we deal with that? For me, it's to notice. Number one, notice when you do that. Notice when that happens. Notice when something just gets in your crawl, especially when you're with somebody, someone you love, like my wife or somebody, or a friend, or anybody who's with you that can kind of pay attention to what you're doing, and you see, why are they smiling and I'm not? We're in the same experience. The same thing's happening to us. We're both on this hike together, but why is one person smiling and the other one not? And it's things like that, if we start paying attention to them, we start to realize, I'm frowning because I thought it was going to be this. Murphy says goodbye. He's signing off here by barking at people walking by. And I will say goodbye too, and I'll check back in with you shortly. Thanks. Murphy, let it go. Leave it. Murphy, leave it. Leave it. That's a good boy. Good, leave it. Good, leave it. Talk to you later. Hey, this is Dee. Thank you so much for stopping by and checking out our podcast. I do need to remind everyone that this podcast is for informational purposes only and should never be considered medical, psychological, or professional health advice of any kind. If you or someone you know is dealing with significant mental health issues, please seek professional help. Resources can be found in our show notes and on our website at unevenpodcast.com. Take care of yourself, and I'll catch you on the flip side.